Basically, right after I said goodbye to my parents, after they spent a lovely week here, I was hopping on a train slash plane to go on fall break. So I went with three of my roommates, Whitney, Kate, and Liz, and me, and we went all around Europe. So we kind of made a little loop. We started from flying from Italy to Athens, Greece, where we spent our first couple days of break. And then we went from Athens to Budapest, Hungary, to Vienna, Austria, to Munich, Germany, and ended in Barcelona, Spain. So we did a whole loop and had an awesome time. Athens wins hands down for best food. The Greek food we had there was absolutely amazing. We also went to the Parthenon while we were there, which is up on the Acropolis Hill, and it was one of my favorite things I've seen my entire time here in Europe so far. When you walked up, you kind of did a little hike, and it felt to me like you were walking right where ancient people had walked, compared to having it blocked off where you just look in. I really felt like I was kind of one with the past in a way. Climbed up, and then when you got to the top, first of all, the Parthenon was beautiful. It was under construction to kind of restore it since it's really super old. But what else was beautiful was just the incredible view of all of Athens. That was really a fun experience. And then throughout our time there, we went to two or three rooftop bars, rooftop cafes, had different meals at on rooftop restaurants, and you can always see the Parthenon kind of in the distance up on a hill wherever you are, which is incredible. Our next stop from Athens was to Budapest, and I have very interesting memories of Budapest because it was Halloween, and for whatever reason, I just assumed Europe doesn't do Halloween. I have an ignorant assumption, but with no research behind it. But when we got there at night, and everyone's dressed up as vampires, like full on makeup, all into it. There's like scary decorations right outside our Airbnb, and I do not prefer Halloween. It is not my favorite holiday whatsoever. I get scared easily. I don't like it. I like candy, but that's about it. So I got there and I was like, what did I just get myself into? So we went to bed, and in the morning when we woke up, we walked around the city, and it was beautiful. It was kind of finally fall, obviously, here, and there was a lot of fall trees with the leaves falling, and then there's a Starbucks, and there's no Starbucks in Italy yet, so that was something kind of fun to kind of get a taste of home. And I had my first pumpkin spice latte of the season, and we went to the baths as well. We went to the second biggest bath complex in the area that was really known for its architecture. Since I was with my architecture friends, they wanted to make sure to check that out, and that was really fun. It worked out perfectly because we climbed up to a citadel right as the sun was setting. Once again, we didn't plan that on purpose, it's just the timing was perfect. So we watched the sunset over Budapest, over the river and everything, and then climbed back down. We were super sweaty and hopped in the baths and relaxed. It was really, really nice. We didn't have enough time in any of the places we went to, but we got to see a lot of places. So I'm really happy that we decided to cram in so many places just to see more, and it kind of gives me an idea of where to go back to in the future. Vienna was beautiful, and we went to this palace with this gallery, and then hiked up and had this beautiful view of the palace and the whole city in the background. We ate great food. I mean, the list just goes on and on. It was phenomenal, and so far and throughout our whole trip, everything was on time in terms of like buses, getting places, transportation was smooth. Really, it couldn't have been better. It was an awesome trip. By the time we got to Vienna, my feet were killing me. I only brought one pair of shoes, and it was, of course, the pair of shoes that were completely falling apart, have absolutely no support, that I've had since my freshman year of college. Why that was my decision? I don't know. Don't ask me. We got to Munich the next day and only had a few hours in Munich because we came from Vienna to Munich, and then from Munich we were flying to Barcelona, both in the same day. And one thing I did was bought new shoes. So that was a bit of a moment. I retired my old Steve Madden combat boots that I wear all the time since my freshman year of college. So they now reside in some sort of landfill in Munich. Kind of a moment, I was like, wow, these shoes have taken me from San Jose to LA, back to San Jose, every trip in between, Mexico, and now throughout Italy and through, my first half of this fall break. So it was kind of a little sentimental moment when I let those shoes lay to rest. But I got some nice comfy Nikes, so my feet were fine for the rest of the trip, thankfully. It was raining in Munich, so I think that's the place we probably didn't get a good sense of out of all the places because it was raining, it was wet and cold, and we weren't there for that much time. But meanwhile, besides the shoe saga, there is also the saga of I'm from California and don't know what weather is. It was pretty cold on this trip. Athens was fine, but then once we got to Budapest, it got cold. Vienna was cold. Munich was cold. And I have this rain jacket that is probably just like a poncho in the sense that it's just a layer of rain protection. Not for warmth at all. My East Coast friends were putting on like short sleeve shirt, long sleeve shirt, cardigan, jacket, hat, scarf, gloves. And I was like, well, here I am with this t-shirt and this rain thing. So that was interesting as well. I definitely froze, but not too bad. But since coming back from break and being in Florence, it has continued to get cold. So I did just buy my first pair of gloves that I have ever bought. I've not needed those very much in my home state of California, so that was an exciting moment. One of my friends who goes to school in Boston, I was like, I bought gloves today, and she's like, oh my gosh, let me see, it's like a real moment that you finally bought gloves, so that was funny. So now we arrived to our last stop in Barcelona, and Barcelona was great. We had amazing paella, and we saw a lot of Gaudi architecture, as you can imagine. I kept calling him Gaudi because I just did and kept forgetting. So that kind of became a running joke, but a lot of Gaudi. And I thought his architecture was amazing. Totally out there, really artistic. I also went into one of the houses he designed, and when you're at the bottom, it's kind of like you're underwater. There's a lot of blues, a lot of allusions to ocean animals and things like that. And then you continue going up, and by the time you're close to the top, there's so much more light, and it feels like you're coming up for a breath of air. It was really cool to have that whole experience all guided by the architecture. And since I was with architecture majors, had a lot of great conversations, learned some architecture vocab, and was really kind of tuned into being able to notice space more than I ever had before. So that was a great learning experience. Probably the most fun thing about break overall was all of our attitudes on the trip. We were all relaxed and really excited and just having a good time. So we cracked a lot of jokes that weren't funny, a lot of jokes that were funny. We laughed a ton. Could not have asked for a better break.